From the newsroom of Impact Alpha, I'm Monique Aiken.
And I'm Brian Walsh. And this is your Impact Briefing for Friday, April 7th.
We're co-hosting to share some takeaways from this year's Turner Miint competition, where Brian and I were both judges.
And full disclosure, I've been on the steering committee for the Turner Miint. That stands for MBA, Impact Investing, Network, and Training for over a decade now. The Turner Miint is a collaboration between the Bridges Impact Foundation, on whose board I also serve, and the ESG initiative at the Wharton School.
We'll chat with the Miint's Adwoa Asare about training the next generation of impact investors and this year's winners.
But first, here's what you need to know from this week in impact investing.
Move over, BlackRock. Vanguard is the new target for climate activists. This week, an environmental coalition began airing a 30-second ad on cable TV highlighting the $8 trillion asset manager's role in fueling the climate crisis. In December, Vanguard quit the Net Zero Asset Managers Alliance after pushback from some Republican-led states. The spot's target market? Chester County, Pennsylvania, where Vanguard is headquartered and many of its 17,000 employees live.
When you save with Vanguard, you're an owner of a catastrophic climate future. If it's bad for the environment, it's bad for your retirement.
The demise of Silicon Valley Bank is opening opportunities for business financing alternatives, especially for models that serve business owners of color. Silicon Valley Bank was known for its commitment to Black and Latine founders, writes Tracy Fuga of Founders First, which provides non-dilutive revenue-based financing. The fund APIS and Heritage finances employee ownership conversions at businesses with large workforces of color. And New Majority Capital helps more women and people of color become business owners.
Earth Day is coming up, and the list this month highlights 8 impact funds with new strategies for restoring land and marine ecosystems and building healthy, resilient food systems and communities. In Mexico, Asimetrica Investments buys farmland from retiring farmers, transitions the farms to organic practices, and gives farm workers a cut of the equity. In Brazil, Vox Capital is teaming up with Rajaí to acquire degraded farmland and restore soil with regenerative agricultural practices. And now it's time for our featured conversation. Hey, Adwoa, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and the Miint competition.
The Miint is an acronym. It stands for MBA, Impact Investing, Network, and Training, or formerly the Turner Miint, but known as the Miint. I have been with the program for 4 years as program manager. So I am the face of the program day to day and get to work with 500 students every year from 45 schools around the globe. It is fantastic. It's part teaching, part training, part networking, coaching, a lot of things all in one. I came to this work after 8 years in affordable housing and learning about impact investing there, actually at a conference where we were talking about sort of next steps beyond traditional grant making. And I was introduced to this concept of impact investing that I thought was just fantastic. And so when I went to business school, I made sure that my focus was social impact and impact investing. And when I finished, there was this opportunity available to manage this program called the Miint, which I described when I first started working for the company as the best program I never heard of. So I'd say it's the best experiential learning opportunity for students interested in impact investing in the world. And it sounds wild to say in the world, but because we are a global program, I feel strong enough in saying in the world.
Now, Adwoa, this is your 4th Miint, but the first time that you were in person for the Miint finals. What was it like to be in Philadelphia with all the finalists this year?
It was incredible. I joined the Miint in 2019, and so we were making plans for in-person, and a few months before the event had to pivot to fully virtual. And those years were wonderful, and we learned a lot. We were able to sort of bring some things forward. But I'd heard a lot about, there's this energy in the room, and being there with about 200 students from around the world, I felt that energy. The students are competitive. They've been working for 6 months. They're hungry to learn. They're eager to present their investment opportunity. And then I think also something that goes unsaid often are the judges who are present. We had 40 judges participate in this year's program. 21 of them were with us in person and others supported virtually. And so just being able to meet with the judges and sort of have our, impact investing community there, it was incredible. I have to say, I'm still sort of reflecting on all of the people that we met. Some folks were meeting each other for the first time. Others were seeing old familiar faces. But all in all, it was very exciting. And the students, I think, were just thrilled. I've been getting notes every day since of just how much they enjoyed being there.
So Brian and I have both been judges for a while. This is my third year and first year in person. And I know Brian precedes me by many more years. So, I've seen students come through the program. Many have gone on to do interesting things all around the field. So tell us a little bit about the intentional role that the Miint plays in developing the next generation of impact investors.
Yeah, I love that question. And that sort of hits at the heart of what the Miint is about. We go through experiential learning because these are the folks that we hope will enter the talent pipeline and become the next impact investors. And we hope that, the little bit that we can do at Miint will make for better impact investors or better impact professionals if they decide not to work at impact firms. We did a survey a couple of years ago during our 10th year to sort of track where our alumni were and where they were working. And I'd say about a third of them actually do go on to impact investing careers, which is pretty impressive considering sort of the small amount of opportunities there are. A fund usually has a limited amount of positions. And so the fact that our students are dedicated and persistent to get those jobs is incredible. The other area where you can sort of see the sort of growth and progression of our students is that many of them come back to serve as mentors or judges once they've had 2 or 3 years of professional experience in impact investing under their belt. This year, 48% of our judges were alums. And so they're coming from 3 years out, 5 years out. Many of them were part of the inaugural Miint cohort at their alma mater, and they're now directors or principals or partners at incredible impact firms. They're bringing that experience into the room as judges, as coaches, as mentors. And so there's this wonderful circle and cycle that's happening. And I wish there were a way for every sort of Miint alum to raise their hands so that everyone sitting at a firm could sort of look around and say, oh, there's a Miint alum here. There's a Miint alum. If I had to guess, I think 1 out of 5 firms probably have a Miint alum who's there now or who has been at their firm.
Now, the first Miint was in 2011, and I believe we had 2 teams from 2 different schools there. Can you tell us some of the numbers in that time? How many students total have participated in the Miint? How many and how much have we grown from those initial 2 schools back in 2011?
Yeah, it started with two schools, and since then has just, I think every year we've seen an addition of sort of new and different programs. We went from 2 to 5 to 8 to 15, then up to 45 during the pandemic. The pandemic was actually our most robust year. That was the year we saw the most students participating and the most schools and most programming. Schools were looking for ways to engage their students, and the Miint program was always a virtual program. And so our online content, curriculum, training, networking, all of that was already online. And so we saw this huge uptick in programs in schools who connected with the Miint. This year, we had 42 schools sort of start the year and about 35 really stay engaged over the course of the entire year. We had close to 500 students. I can find our actual number. We had 462 students enrolled this year. Students work in teams, so anywhere from 2 to 6 students working together. So we had 113 teams from 42 schools this year in particular, which again, with sort of the way things are shaping up in the economy, with enrollment being what it is at graduate schools, we're really, really proud of that number and the fact that students and programs still continue to sign up for the Miint to be a part of what we're doing.
So I know that folks from my alma mater participated, NYU, and I was excited to also judge NYU Impact Investment Funds competition just the same week. I had a busy week of judging. Everyone's a winner, but who were this year's actual finalists in the Miint?
Yes, drum roll. So something unique to Miint that we started 3 years ago was that we have an anonymity process. So teams are referred to as numbers during the competition. And that helps our judges not bring implicit bias or, any allegiance connected to their alma mater, any feelings. And so the students come into the room and they say, hi, they say their names, we're from team, 4, and then they jump right into their presentations. And so I love that I know who the teams are and no one else does. But our finalists this year, we had 7 teams present in the finals. They were from INSEAD, HEC Paris, Oxford Said Business School, University of Cambridge Judge Business School, Vanderbilt University, London School of Economics, and Hebrew University of Jerusalem. So those were our 7 finalists this year.
So out of 42 schools, we got to 7 finalists, and all those finalists were from outside the U.S., schools from outside the U.S., except for one, right?
Except for one, yeah.
What do you make of that?
I think it speaks to the content of our training. I think it really, really does, particularly because our content, although we do have aspects of it that are international and cross-sector, and a lot of our content was created by U.S.-based practitioners and academics. And so the fact that international students are still hungry for the content they're learning from what we're teaching, and I think taking that back to their ecosystem and also sharing some of what they're doing with our students in sort of peer networks. And so I think there's something to be said there around the value of this program, the way that we've set it up, the peer-to-peer networking. There are other, experiential learning programs, I think, starting to come up. There are, other impact or other training programs, but the Miint is still the only program that combines all of these things at sort of a priority level where it's important to us every step of the way. And so when we get on these training calls, we ask students to identify themselves. So the students from Chinese University of Hong Kong are on our 12 p.m. call. And so we say good afternoon and good morning because they're up at midnight. We have students who are joining in Singapore. They're up at 2 a.m. We have students who are joining at 7 p.m. Israel. So it's incredible to sort of be on these calls, students from all over the place and meeting. And I think also what's important too is that we think about the schools based on where their home base is. Like, INSEAD has campuses in Paris and Singapore, but their students are coming from all over the world. We saw that this year with the team from Oxford, right? They're based in Oxford, but they have team members who are from Nigeria. They have team members who are from Colombia. And so it really is an international focus. And I think a reminder that impact investing is global. It may be called different things in different areas, but when you think about sort of Israel's known for its entrepreneurship, they've found a way to sort of grasp what we're teaching in impact investing and bring that into the entrepreneurial ecosystem there. And so each area is sort of taking a little bit and making it sort of meld into their local ecosystem.
Now, the Turner Miint, as you said, is an experiential education program, but there is an investment at the end of the day in the winning companies as sourced by these student teams. And so these companies receive what's called the Moelis Prize. So that's in honor of Ron Moelis and the Moelis Family Foundation, which provides the investment capital to these winning companies. Can you tell us a little bit about the portfolio of the Miint winning companies over the years?
Yeah, we have 21 companies in our portfolio. So over 12 years of students essentially being our deal team and negotiating deals, I think we're doing pretty well. 21 companies, 3 have been acquired, including one by Apple, one of our early stage education companies. We've invested just under $900,000, and the current net asset value of the portfolio is 1.32. So all things considered, we're doing well. The Miint is a passive investor because this is an educational program first and foremost. We want our students to lead the way. We want to support deals that they are bringing to our investment committee, which is made up of sort of a rotating group of judges year in and year out. And so I think all those things considered, the fact that we have a portfolio that's above 1 says a lot to sort of the institution of impact investing, and says a lot about the quality of the diligence that the students are doing. And so, again, 21 companies in the portfolio, not too bad for a student-led impact investing fund that rotates students from 45 schools every single year.
So you mentioned diligence, and I know that part of the competition, the best diligence also is a winner, never mind the finalist who actually gets the highest investment. So could you tell us a little about why diligence wins and who was the actual finalist company?
Yeah. So the Diligence Prize was created to honor the team who did the best diligence across all companies, across all student teams, regardless of whether or not that deal was selected for an investment. We offer students the opportunity to pass on a deal, right? After they've conducted diligence, they might determine something about this deal isn't right. The entrepreneur isn't quite where we think they should be. The deal terms are not solid. We don't have strong investors in this round. And so students are encouraged to make sort of the fair, honest assessment based on their diligence. This year's diligence winner, the team actually did recommend an investment, and our judges were really, really impressed. I remember reading the memo, and my note was just, "This is good diligence." And that was sort of my note to myself. The student team from Columbia University put that together, and they were a really, really great team. And so the sort of award and the benefit for due diligence is that the school receives a discount on their participation for Miint the following year. And so it's an award that directly impacts and benefits the schools and the students compared to the investment, which the winning team gets a trophy and they get bragging rights, but the investment dollars go to that winning company. And so we have these sort of two prizes that celebrate two different aspects of impact investing, the diligence, but also the investability of the deal. So who won, right? Everyone's sort of, who won? How did it play out? This year's winning team, I'll start with the team, is from Said Business School at the University of Oxford. They presented a company called Sunfox Technology. Sunfox is an Indian-based medical devices company, which was founded in 2016, that leverages technology to generate simple, user-friendly reports that can be used to track cardiac health outcomes in remote areas without the need for a medical specialist. So it's a handheld device similar to what an EKG does, which will allow folks to hopefully have better medical outcomes by getting this data and passing it on to a medical specialist, hopefully saving lives in the long run. And something really, really special about the Oxford team is that they were very focused on bringing their experience and connections to the global South and working in India to present a company that they felt really was making a difference. And so we're super excited about the opportunity. It was a pretty easy investment decision for us to go with Sunfox, and the student team did an incredible job with the diligence. These students, I think, demonstrate sort of the tenacity of the Miint and of our students, in that their original team who had done diligence on Sunfox over the course of 6 months, they had to change who could come to Philadelphia and present this company based on sort of travel challenges and logistics. And so only 2 members from a 6-person team came to represent their school. And so they sort of carried this extra pressure and extra weight of, can we do a good enough job? And they exceeded. They won audience choice. So they won over their peers who were impressed with their presentation, with their diligence, with their ability to handle question and answer from the judges. And they impressed our group of 5 investment committee judges as well. So Sunfox Technology, congratulations, and congratulations to Said Business School and the students from the University of Oxford.
And congratulations to you, Adwoa Asare, the Miint program manager, soon to be Miint program director, for all that you've done and your successful 4th Turner Miint.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Monique. Thank you both for your support, for being judges. If there's anyone out there listening, reach out, send an email. We're always recruiting more judges and mentors and guest speakers, just any way that we can sort of connect with students and make the best impact investors, of tomorrow today. So love to meet more people. And thank you both, Brian and Monique.
Thank you so much, Adwoa. And that's going to do it for this week's Impact Briefing. You can read more about the Turner Miint and all of the stories we covered today at impactalpha.com. Thanks, as always, to our producer extraordinaire, Isaac Silk.
Ready to try Impact Alpha? Sign up for Impact Alpha Open, free, directly at impactalpha.com. Want to go deeper? Grab a subscription and get full access to Impact Alpha, including the award-winning morning brief and our popular Agents of Impact calls. Just go to impactalpha.com/subscribe and choose an annual subscription.
For Monique, Aiken, I'm Brian Walsh. Be sure to check back for next week's briefing. And until next time, take good care.